Welcome to the BleedRedblacks podcast with your hosts Mike, Colin, Shinin, and Santino. Produced by Mark and Johnny Z. BleedRedblacks starts now.
Hey, welcome to BleedRedblacks Season 3, Episode 20. Winning. This is the winning episode.
Winning.
Lots of winning. Lots of winning. Mark, you can just blast in some Sheen or some Lemmy anytime you want. Or any other song that is winning based. For second week in a row, we got the OG crew back. I love it. I guess it'd be third show in a row, right? No, second. Mike, what's up?
I'm trying to count.
It's good to be here.
It's weird being here. Like, this is our third time in 7 days down here. And, I mean, Mark's going to start actually charging us rent for this place at this rate.
Feels like a job.
The amount of coffee I've been going through at your on Brando has been off the charts.
Give up his address. That's awesome. The studio equipment will be gone next week.
The only house on Brando that has, what, doesn't have foil over the windows or what?
Grow your own. That's what they tell you in South Keys. Grow your own.
Winning. Yeah. Signed football draw. So who's the winner? Who's the winner? We've done 2 contests ever on this show. This is the second one. Same person won the both.
Oh, really? I didn't know she won the first one.
Yeah, we did like a ticket giveaway to that play last year.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
we did?
Yeah, to the Rider Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Martine, congratulations. You won the football.
But we're not going to give it to you if you cheer for the Stamps on Grey Cup Sunday.
So I guess we'll have to redraw.
So, yeah, we're going to have to redraw. Just kidding, Martine. Congratulations.
Anyways, you can pick it up, meet you at the Laugh or the Dom anytime. There's got to be, I guess, House of Targ or something. It's pretty cool, too. Anyways, we'll get that to you one way or another. Congratulations. And thanks to everyone who retweeted the shit out of that show link. It's nice to see that you guys know how to retweet our show link. 31 of you did it for the football. Usually we get 4 for the show, so we see...
We're just figuring this out with like 2 shows left.
Yeah, we're like, oh, wait a minute. We have to give shit away. Damn it. We'll wait till you see what we're giving away of this show. It's a secret, but...
Yeah, it's a big secret.
And winning. Congrats to the Empire for winning the CFL Twitter Award for Best Podcast. Good on Andrew. He works his ass off. Jen, you were on the show last week. Had some fun with those boys. You were all over the place last week.
I'm a media darling,
At least
guys.
someone from BleedRedblacks is desirable, right? It's like CBC, 2 and Out, Eskimos Empire. Meanwhile, Mike and I are just jamming out video games at home and
maybe that's why.
Reading the Ottawa Sun.
Maybe you need to play less video games and be more charming.
Oh, God. This is not going to happen. Winning. What's the current line for the Redblacks to win the Grey Cup? Do you know? Have you looked? I think they're like the spread is over a touchdown at this point.
Right.
So
makes sense.
I think the money line will push that pretty heavy all week, and I'm sure come game time, it wouldn't surprise me if it's double digits.
Maybe 14.
You think that? I don't know, but
the way Calgary puts up points, we can talk about that later. But I'd be worried.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know what the over/under is going to be though, because we can score too. I mean, especially if we get behind early. Yeah. They may just start slinging it. But
speaking of Vegas, Golden Knights playing straight out of Barbara Ann Scott Arena down there in Old Ottawa West.
They should litigate against that.
I'm gonna have to break out my jersey.
At least your jersey had a knight on the front, not whatever the hell that is that they have. But worst secret ever. Well done, Las Vegas.
And NHL, you just proved once again you're still owned by the mob. Thanks for showing up.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for the $500 million. I'm sure old Batman's stoked about that business endeavor. But
yep.
Winning. Jeanette, can you buy me a 50-50 ticket at the Grey Cup this weekend?
Sure, but if it's the winning ticket, it's the one that I bought for myself.
I just said I trust you.
Well, I just said if it's the winning ticket,
all right, if anyone out there is listening,
I
want to buy me a 50-50 ticket. We're on a heater, so we're just winning everything right now. So, Yeah, it'd be awesome. All right, never mind. Craig's going with you, right?
Craig's going
Maybe
with
I'll
me.
ask him. He's a lawyer. We'll sign something. We'll
He's
put something
pretty
on
shifty.
paper.
I don't know. It's pretty shifty, that husband of mine.
He'll hide the ticket in his hair.
I won't even find
You
it.
won't even know he has it. He'll hide the whole $100,000 in there. I
He'll
swear to
walk
God.
home with a Rolex one day, and I'll be like, "Where'd you get that?" Winning.
Come on, we both know Craig. It'll be in your wine cellar. Let's be honest.
You're right,
He's like,
you're
this,
right.
this bottle of wine costs Colin $100,000. Yeah, so I guess that's it. We saw an awesome game on Sunday. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. It was a great snow bowl, awesome TV numbers, and yeah, just stoked. I'm stoked to be down here talking about a positive result and the fact that our team's going back to the Grey Cup for second time in 3 years of existence. It's crazy, man.
Winning.
Okay, let's go into a little bumper and we'll come back and talk about the game last Sunday.
Sometimes you need to go back and then back some more to actually move forwards or sideways. I don't mean go back as far as a streetcar, but maybe halfway back, like to the 50s. I know there are those who say that they can't take the bus. Yes, you can. You just have to be going to the right place. TD Place. Why park and ride when you can ride and park? I've been stuck at Herdman Station for 45 minutes, and I don't quite know why. OC Transpo, where backwards is the new forwards.
So last Sunday, we had an awesome win in some amazing weather conditions. Like, only Canadians would say it's amazing, but man, it was a lot of fun. For those of you who
Snowed sideways.
live in a cave, it snowed a lot.
A lot. Better than rain. Better than the rain we had in the morning.
Yeah, except the TD Place staff were wishing it was rain because you don't have to shovel rain, right?
That's true. And the rain doesn't hide all of your hard work painting that field.
And you can't do snow angels in rain, right?
No.
I don't know what that is. That's just splashing around in a puddle, which is awesome too. Let's be honest. We've all been underneath the eaves trough with a little shampoo
I've
and a
never
downpour, right?
witnessed such poor attempts at shoveling a field before. Right? Like, I know we had a couple of laughs about their attempts to keep the lines clear, but
Sponsored. I can't even talk.
Tonsils.
Sponsored by Kubota,
Yeah.
right? And dudes are slinging snow with shovels. Like, TD Place, you're doing it wrong. Like, there's sweepers that go on the front of those buggies. Like, FYI.
yeah, I
Just-
wonder if it's they're worried about the field getting ripped up though, or
Maybe.
you know.
How many
what-
times a year do they legit have to worry about this, though, guys? Like, really? Maybe we should cut them some slack.
Well, that's why they wouldn't let the Southsider horse come, right? Because they were worried about the field
The
conditions, apparently.
Southsider
Right? Oh, I'm
horse.
getting my stories mixed up. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the South Side didn't really show up to the game. What did everybody think of that? I mean, you look across the field and it's
Well,
empty
at
seats.
halftime, all the seats were empty, but they filed back in.
We
during,
saw seats that had snow before when we got there and had snow when we left. There were a lot of sections that there was never bums in the seats.
Yeah, that snow's in your face over there. It wouldn't be the first time it snowed up my nose on the south side, but like, right? Because November's tough. Like, let's be honest, it's really tough. You got to really be careful with that. So
I was gonna say you're looking pretty slim these days too, Ben.
thanks a lot. Anytime I can get that, it's snowing up your nose in the south side joke in. It's good.
Well,
right?
we were at the game.
Some people do shoe beer. Other people do like the
snow on the
Peru
on the
shuffle.
south side.
Some people do the Peru shuffle over there. I don't know.
Come
like,
on, we've all
shoe
been.
beer, Peru shuffle, whatever. It's the same. How many unique ways can you jam snow up your nose, right?
Well, I
I'm
don't know,
talking
you
about
s-
actual snow,
you said
right? like, let's be honest.
Just gotta watch that yellow stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's the hardcore stuff.
Remember when we were family friendly?
No, I mean, ever since Mark Goudie took his shirt off down here, fuck that. If he'll endorse us and get naked in front of us,
And-
family friendly. You kidding me?
And the 2 and Out guys calling me Ottawa J of the Redblacks podcast.
Hey-o.
That was personally my favorite.
This show jumped the shark long ago. So don't worry about
I
it.
gotta admit, like, saying Bleed Redblacks, it did take some practice, and we also
Sure.
I used to say Bleed Blacks, but I guess Breed Redblacks is pretty awesome. So moving forward, so old Casa de Mama field ad.
Yeah, it was-
so much for that. Like, I had a lot of fun having Marshall tell us about the ads.
Marshall
but
gave us the whole play-by-play of all the ads on the field, and none. We didn't see any.
They covered up that expectations one too, no doubt about it.
So
No doubt about
what's
it.
how much is an ad with a reach of 0 worth? Like, you're in
Yeah.
the business world.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What would one of those field spots cost? Just like, do you have any ballpark number? Like, what would you
for
pay
one
just
game,
for one
just
game?
like that? Probably
$25K or something like
15
that?
to 20K in the CFL for sure.
And would there be a clause to as far as if it snows, or is that just kind of like part of the risk?
It's part of the risk. It all comes.
It's
with-
kind of like if you throw an ad in the Ottawa Sun and the paperboy throws all of them in the dumpster instead of delivering them, right? Been there.
yeah,
It was the melt calendar day when I threw them all out.
I
Man, the
had
residents of
that-
Winchester were not happy.
I had that paper route. You know what I'm saying? But no, yeah, you're looking at just wasted dollars because the clause is even if the game doesn't get played or there's a TV blackout. I mean, there's all kinds of the issue you have with the CFL is that they rely on that ad revenue big time, and it's
For sure.
I've said it before. Sponsorship's a big part of the CFL for them to not only earn money for the league, but to spread it around and make sure that they can get more sponsors and keep them coming. Because that's one thing the CFL's had a tough time doing over the last few years.
For sure.
Is maintaining a constant sponsorship deals. I mean, the Nasolator is one, but
The snot sucker, I love
snot sucker or whatever. But
Trivago.
Yeah.
Trivago.
Who you mean Keenan Weller? Sorry.
Is that Keenan Weller on the Trivago ad? That's awesome. He'll like that.
With that being said, the TV numbers were awesome,
Yeah.
right? Like the East final got 1.4 million, and the West got around
1
which
yeah.
is pretty good considering that game was over
At halftime.
pretty
Yeah.
quickly. So we're going streaking. Thank you, Tristan Jackson. I will neither confirm nor deny whether a season ticket holder Mike got naked. I saw his underwear, and I saw him leave. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all you have to say.
You know what, dude? The look on your face.
I wish I was there.
It was like it was like going to a job interview that you don't really want the job, and then they
Yeah.
offer you the job.
I look like Donald Trump the night he won the fucking election. I'll tell you that right now.
He's like,
Okay.
Oh shit!
So I have to tell you. So the minute I saw the the two Eskimos line up onside for that kick, I looked at Craig and I said, Mike's going streaking. Mike is going streaking, because you could see that play happen. You
Yes.
could see.
and they had their two best special teams guys, their two best tacklers.
Well, they lost their blockers, right?
lining
'Cause-
up,
yeah, exactly.
lining up onside,
Yeah.
and just a really weird.
Well,
in those
they-
conditions,
they- it would have been a brilliant play if it had worked, but as soon as I saw that happen from our seats, and Craig's
least-
like, "Why is Mike going streaking?" I'm like, "Because we're about to get a touchdown. We're about to get a touchdown."
At
He
least it
obviously
can-
doesn't listen to our show. I'm actually quite disappointed in that husband of mine.
I know. Even my wife was tweeting, "What the hell's going on at TV Place?" She just seeing my timeline blow up with pictures of my underwear. But let's be honest, it did come to fruition because I said that special teams would have to help us win this game, and it did. So I mean, it was a nail in the coffin.
That play turned out to be huge.
And,
when we blew a
yeah.
few tires and
Well,
had a couple costly fumbles, that
When we let a
seven was massive.
Darius Bowman just trot into the end zone,
And Mike,
wide
you and I
open.
talked about that right prior. I'm like, we can't let this guy beat us.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And we also noticed that both teams were having a lot of success out wide. And I don't know what that was, because going through the interior usually involves some cutting or some tight plays, and out wide you have a little more buffer and a little less tight cuts. But they're having most success, or both teams were on those big wide patterns, not like the slot receivers.
A lot of mistakes
Didn't
too in
do
the
much.
secondary on both sides of the ball. I felt like, it just seems like those conditions don't add up to a lot of. I bet you the wind's howling as well. I mean, the
Oh
wind
yeah,
is
no,
howling
it was a
those
windy
helmets.
day. It's
Communication's tough even on
Yeah.
the field, right?
The
So-
field is slippery. You could see guys were losing their footing down there. But you know what? They both had to deal with the weather. And I've heard a few Edmonton fans say, "Oh, it was the weather." Well, listen
Yeah.
here. I'm from the prairies, and if Edmonton boys can't deal with the weather in
Yeah.
the prairies, then those ain't any true prairie boys. So
I
mean-
appreciate all the support everybody gave me during my time.
Support to see
During
you
your
naked.
streaking?
It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome, right?
And thank God I was like 4 or 5 months removed from a Brazilian. 'Cause, man,
I'm telling you, I looked in the canal on our walk home over the bridge. I looked in the canal.
The best is I sent a tweet out. He's like, "Where's Mike?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's doing snow angels behind Kettleman's." And Kettleman's tweeted out, "Glad you guys had a fun time
Yeah.
at the game."
Yeah.
Amazing. Apparently, you can beat a team 3 times in one season.
Doesn't happen often, but yeah.
Yeah, you just got to outplay them, and I think those numbers we really got to stop looking at that. Like, regular season. These playoff games to me are almost like the spin of a roulette wheel, and each game is almost independent of everything else that happened. These games are. Everything else is wiped clean. These are clean slate, new season. Yep. Losing, you go home, and regular season doesn't mean anything at this point.
That's absolutely true.
Now, I'm sure Calgary may argue that, since their regular season was pretty ridiculous. But
then they would have tried to get the record.
Happen.
No, I don't think they would argue that, because then they would have tried to get that record season with 16-2. But they also appreciated that that's not what mattered. What mattered was getting prepared for this game, right?
So East versus West Grey Cup, just the way it should be, right, guys? Like, I like it that way, especially since the game is in an Eastern city. It's really going to help the attendance, and the Redblacks are running promotions. $200, you can get a bus and a game ticket.
Yeah.
Sure, you may be a little sidways at work on Monday, but for those people who want to do that, go to the website, or the team's Twitter account has details on that. It's a great opportunity, even if you're sitting in the bleeders. It might be fun if you have a couple $100 and you want to go hang out in the T-Dot for 12 hours. I mean, who doesn't?
And be on a bus for the other 12 hours. Who doesn't? That's like a dream day for me.
So our nation, I mean, we're proving that we got awesome fans. This is a wicked fan base. Even if some are susceptible to the weather, it still was a sellout apparently. I'm not talking about the Southsiders that didn't come to the game. It actually did sell out. So
it felt like a loud barn to you guys. It seemed pretty loud.
Oh yeah. Well, the addition of 24,000 cowbells definitely helped out. I would think
cowbells.
Let's be honest. Weren't the best cowbells, but
Yeah.
Price is right.
Free.
Except when you walk in the door, there's obviously some dude who has like 8 in his hands. Woo! Free cowbells.
Exactly.
And they're like, there's one for everyone, right, bro? He's like, whatever. Yeah,
$3 3 cents made in China, right? Perfect.
That's another conversation we had. These are the conversations I'm going to miss next year. Okay,
we're immediately trying to figure out how much it ran.
We're like, okay, this many cowbells. What kind of price are you talking about per unit and stuff? So I'm gonna miss those chats next year, bud.
Yeah, I figure it was a deal made. Justin Trudeau probably had a private party with some Chinese businessmen. We all got settled there with OSEG. So awesome.
They didn't actually make a donation. They just gave us a bunch of cowbells.
Yeah, actually, the Trudeau Foundation
monetary
got
value.
17 massive skids of cowbells for amazing.
Invoice actually, they owed them money afterwards. Yeah, I was getting rid of that crap.
How do you recycle those boxes? Where do those bells go? That's what I want to know. The ones that are just left under the seat.
Well, they're going to use it for fill underneath the temporary stands of Grey Cup next year, actually. That's same with the old pallets.
Yeah.
Whatever, swing staff, whatever they got to do. Hank is a boss. E-Jack is a boss. And Janine, I apologize.
I can't believe you forgot Keenan LaFrance. Like, dude, did you guys see his interview at TSN after the game?
I didn't see that one, but I've seen a few since, and
dude
is glowing.
Well, as he should be. I mean, he had 163 yards on the season and 157 in this game. So, and Santino talked, when Santino was still with us in the basement, he talked a couple times about, I think we should really give Keenan LaFrance a chance here before we keep bringing in, like we brought in Grigsby and then we brought in Madhu, and Keenan LaFrance proved why we should give him a chance. But the best part about that interview, and this is because I'm from Manitoba, they were asking him about the weather and the conditions, and he went, "Oh man, that snow ain't nothing. I'm from Manitoba." And I thought, yeah, I just love that attitude, and you could see how much fun he had out there. Game of his life. Congratulations, Keenan. I'm so super proud of you from one Manitoban to another. Like, I'm just so proud.
And any dude from Manitoba who can rock a Sean John shirt, like, good for you, bud. Good on you. Right?
That company's still around, by the way. That's amazing.
So yeah, good on him. And he's got the right passport too. So if he could become a 1 or 2 guy, that's really going to help our numbers out next year and enable us to bring in another Merkin.
Well, I'll have to get him to buy a condo. See how that goes, right?
Maybe he and Chevy want to split one.
Yeah, maybe Chevy's is for sale. Check it out.
Is it too soon? No?
Definitely not. I'm pretty sure Siobhan's into cooking now, right? I'm think like he's aspiring to be like a chef or something. I've seen him put a bunch of photos of awesome food up. So, anyways, that's true actually. It's not a bad joke, Mark. Just relax on the crickets there, bud. Last week I said some groaners, and he let me off the hook. So.
I know.
Hey-o.
Disappointed.
He said the joke wasn't that bad, really. He's just too lazy to dig up the old cricket sample, right?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Mark? Depth, and more depth. And in 3 years, Marcel Desjardins has built a deep squad, and he's always tinkering and always tweaking. Cleon Lang, just bringing in little pieces and subtle moves that go a long way. Keenan LaFrance, right?
Bringing in the stock boy from Hartman's Groceries to kick field goals, whatever it takes.
Good on him. On him.
And
right?
and to be honest, I think that has a lot to do with why the rest of the league, there's a lot of jealousy with the Ottawa Redblacks, is because I believe in and I know I've got rose-colored glasses on, but this front office is one of the best in the league right now. I mean, they're hitting their stride. There could be a point in a few years where we're like, it's time to burn the front office down and just, shred some papers. But
I'm wondering how long OSEG is going to be able to retain all these guys.
The front office?
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, as far as I know, like most of the main guys have, the cogs of that operation have been there since day one. And you know what? If I'm the Argos right now, or if I'm another team looking for a little bit of inspiration or a little bit of just to mix it up a little bit, it wouldn't surprise me if a few of those guys get poached sooner than later. And we're just not talking about football operations. We're just talking about the guys that run that, like the high level guys,
Yeah, you never know.
And having one of them down in studio just shows how down to earth and how hardworking these dudes are. And it's really good to see. I mean,
Don't go, guys. Don't go.
Don't go.
Build a dynasty. You know how hard that is in the CFL? It's pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, they've managed to do it in, Calgary. I mean,
right.
this would be the loss. Them not winning last year when they probably could have. I mean, most people will say they are favored to win this Sunday. That'd be 3 in a row.
Let's ask the CFL expert. Over the last 5 or 6 years, who's been the best team in the CFL?
Over the last 5 or 6 years, it would have maybe outside 5 years ago was probably Montreal, but it's been Calgary. It's been Calgary.
Yeah.
It's absolutely been Calgary.
Yeah, and it seems that's the way it goes in the CFL. You kind of have your time to shine, and then you better hold on for dear life.
And it's weird. It seems like you need that one solid GM guy, and you need the quarterback, and everything else. A lot of moving parts, but I mean that Calvillo combo or what we see in
but Janin and I sat down
Calgary
here before.
right
It's
now.
also about the backup quarterback in the CFL. If you can buy a few games here or there while somebody gets on the mend, like we did this year,
exactly.
Puts us in the right spot. Even though you're coming out of the East with a sub 500, the East was just horrible compared to the West this year. So
So I mean, I would love, obviously because I'm a Redblacks fan, but seeing a Grey Cup come back to the East, like that would be nice. And it's a quick trip from Toronto. We don't need to put that thing on another helicopter or any military vehicle. Just send her on the Via,
Well,
They got a good
if there's a
partnership
waterway
anyway.
from Toronto to Ottawa, the Lumberjos can bring it back.
Hopefully
there's a lot of portaging.
They
Hopefully
got to do a lot of portaging. Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get them a better ride. By the sounds of it, that
A
old
less
tank.
tippy canoe.
Yeah, that's right. So at least something with a mast, something, a sail or something. Those poor bastards. It's a long way to paddle with your flip flops. You know what I'm saying?
Catamaran.
There you go. Anyways, great game. I guess quickly, let's do a little around the horn. Your favorite memory from Sunday, the coolest thing that happened. I'll start, I guess, aside from the punt return, the celebration after with the Snow Angel with Ellingson. Really cool to kind of see that fun human side of the guys. And it was fun because it was the only time I've ever seen Big Joe just standing on the sideline doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, he's like, I'm just gonna watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
And he literally he was just taking it all in. I mean, one of those 8 people that play Big Joe, like they're fans of the team too, right? So it's not Janine, by the way. So what about for you, season ticket holder Mike?
I think I always say those are the games you remember. You go back to a year ago, and we'll always remember 2nd and 25, and that's great. Even though I didn't see the play because the crowd
Fucking brawl.
There was a brawl. I crowd surfed for a bit. It was like being in a no effects show, really.
Crowdsourced?
Crowdsourced. I crowdsourced
The brawl.
a whole brawl. But it's that weather that you'll remember
for sure.
because you'll look back in 4 or 5 years and go, you remember it was snowing sideways and I trudged through it and It's just it's the atmosphere and it's the game that's the whole package. But definitely the snow helps, right? I think that's what you'll remember.
Obviously, Keenan LaFrance in the game he had was a huge highlight for me because not only is he one of my own hometown boys, but he's also from the formerly CIS, now U Sports, and I just, how I feel about our good Canadian players. But I actually think probably the absolute favorite thing was Rick Campbell's reaction on the sidelines when they won. And I didn't see it at the time. I saw it later on in the replays and some of the picks. And then hearing him Monday morning on CBC Ottawa, Rick Campbell is such an even-keeled kind of guy. He never really gets super excited. He was giddy. He was positively giddy. And there was just something about seeing that really calm, sort of even head coach. Actually, he was like a kid, and it gave me goosebumps. It absolutely gave me goosebumps.
Do you think that goes to him being told for like a week and a half it's not his game, right? He's that guy. He didn't say a word. Like, it's almost like we're just going to go out and play our game. And there's like something about being an underdog that
I like
they really
that.
feed on.
I like that they let Hank do the talking.
Well, right? And they usually do.
Because at this point, Hank has proven he's not lacking any confidence.
No. And other than Coach Campbell does every Monday, he goes on TSN 1200 every Monday morning and he does a little blurb for 5 or 10 minutes, whatever. But you're right. He doesn't say much other than that. He's just it's just not him. And if you've ever, the first ladies night that the Redblacks did that I went to, he's so quiet. He doesn't say much. He lets everybody else take center stage. And by no means was he taking center stage when he was jumping up and down on the sidelines, but it was just, I never see that side of him. And you've talked before about, do we have a coach that's emotional enough and passionate enough? I quite like Rick Campbell, but that was the first time I really caught a glimpse of that drive and passion. And I loved it.
I think the only time I ever questioned that is when we're trying to learn that winning tradition and shaking people out of bad habits.
Fair enough. The penalties,
mental
for example.
mistakes, penalties, stupid plays. Those situations where I think some assertiveness can go a long way.
But you don't know. We don't know what goes on in the dressing room.
Exactly. With that being said, for all we know, when he closes the door, he rages on those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who knows, right? And
or like some baseball managers just play a game of crib with them.
Sure, yeah.
Nothing wrong with crib.
Have a few beers in the dressing room, and you can't do that anymore, right? Good on the Bo Sox, all right. That 1 year, they were partying, man. It was amazing. Okay, we're gonna go to Santino's rant.
Yes.
He's basically just saying, "Come on, guys, give us a chance." There's 2 teams in this game this weekend, and one of them's gonna win. See what happens. Let's go to Santino's rant.
Welcome to the Red Black Renegade Rant with Santino Filoso.
I'm not sure why we're even playing a game on Sunday. Might as well go ahead and give the Stamps the trophy because they're 9-point favorites and are sure to win by at least 20.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Right? I mean, that's what the casual fan might be thinking or feeling after reading media outlet after media outlet counting out the Redblacks. To say that no one's giving them a chance would be putting it mildly. And I get it. The Stamps do deserve to be favored. After all, they've been a hell of a lot more consistent than the Redblacks this year. This Calgary squad went 15-2-1 as they tore through their opponents. They gave up a league-low 20 sacks while registering a league-high 52. They scored more points than anyone else, turned the ball over the least, and have the MOP, Bo Jeans Mitchell, under center. In the face of that, Ottawa is toast, aren't they? Now that I think about it, maybe not. Just maybe. Henry Burris, Ottawa's QB, who has made a career out of proving doubters wrong, will go out there and have the best game of his life, knowing that his legacy could be defined largely by what goes down Sunday night. Maybe the offense, led by crisp passing from Burris, jumps out to an early lead and forces the Stamps to play from behind, an unfamiliar sensation for them this year. Maybe an Ottawa defense that is phenomenal at stuffing the run can shut down Jerome Messam and force Calgary to become one-dimensional. Maybe, once they're one-dimensional, D-Block, a group that has played exceptionally well in recent weeks, generates a timely interception or 2. Maybe the July tie and the September game where they hung toe-to-toe with the Stamps for 3 quarters gives Ottawa an extra boost of confidence. Maybe the thousands of members of our nation on hand give the Redblacks a home field advantage. Maybe, just maybe, we should let the teams play without assuming it's a done deal, because maybe anything can happen this Sunday, including the Redblacks shocking the world. That's all for this week, guys. Make sure to rant back at Redblackgade and remember to bleed Redblacks.
Never again will you see rings on your table with the CFL-approved OLG Coaster Yellow Edition. It's easy. Go to your local OLG retailer, place a bet on a parlay with no research, watch your bet lose, and boom!
Coaster!
Bet on the Ticats to beat the Redblacks? Coaster! Bet on the Argos to win the East? Coaster! Coaster come in a variety of price ranges from $2 to $100.
After Rake and Juice, you'll never be a long-term winner, but you will always win a coaster with OLG.
So, the time is now. The Grey Cup is this Sunday.
Why are we calling it Cap?
The old gray cap.
Cap?
It's the old. Well, the legend has it they used to play for a hat. That's what we made this up a couple of years ago.
I had a Grey Cup party that wasn't too exciting, and that was pretty much the best material that came out of it.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you have a brainstorming session with creative friends, magic happens. Sometimes
Magic doesn't happen.
Sometimes you get the Grey Cap. So, I guess one of those jokes that even within our close circle, it's lame.
It's over.
We assume every single person that listens.
Mark,
wants to hear.
am I allowed to ask for crickets, Mark? Oh, thank you.
You can't ask for them. That's like giving yourself your own nickname. You don't do that, right? Yeah. So this
Speaking
Sunday,
of that, Fossey Corsi, what's up?
This Sunday in Toronto, there's gonna be lots of Redblacks fans there. It's gonna be an awesome game. You will be there. Mike, Mark, and I are watching the game here in studio, which is gonna be a lot of fun. We rarely get a chance to all get together when we're not doing this. Mm-hmm. So there's a rumor that Mark wants to crush that bottle of vodka. So Jeanette, you might
do
be
it.
off the hook. You may be off the hook.
Do it.
I'll bring the Caesar mix. Mike, you bring the Zantac, and make sure your phone's charged. So
Boys,
let us in.
It breaks my heart that you want to do that without me, but you have my blessing.
Thank you.
Whatever. Just take my 50-50 winnings and get the fuck out of here.
So they're already spent.
It's too late. I already bought a new crib. You want to rent it? All right, offense. So I'm going to leave the Fossey Corsi up to Janine. She wants to talk RBs. So I just want to say, we know what we're going to get out of E-Jack. That's pretty safe to say. No worries there. With Chris Williams out, we really leaned on John Kreiner and Khalil Payton last week. They both look great out wide. But neither of them are really game changers like Chris Williams. Let's be honest. The sneak attack isn't going to work. Everyone knows who Kreiner is now. And I mean, Payton's been around a while, but we're not going to come at them with any surprise there at all. And obviously, they're going to be they watched last week's game tape as well. I think Kreiner had almost 80 yards and Payton had a touchdown. So they're both really effective. For me, I think it's time for Brad Sinopoli to have the game of his career. He was pretty much non-existent last game. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of blocking, but he really didn't have any impact on the game at all, and we need him to be impactful. In the last 14 games, Sinopoli's only gone over the 100-yard mark twice. I mean, saying only, but for an elite receiver, we need more out of him. 2 receptions for 15 yards last week. That's just not good enough. And he can make tough catches in tough parts of the field, and with Hank's gun, he'll be able to fit the ball into those tight spots where Sinopoli can kind of find. And in my mind, like if we can get a couple TDs and 100 yards out of him, we're really going to increase our chances of keeping up with these guys.
No argument that I'd love to see. Well, obviously, I would love to see Sinopoli get more, rack up his stats a little. We all know how I feel about Brad, but for me, when I wrote these notes, thank you for letting me talk about running backs for once, because I never get to. When I wrote these notes, I didn't know if Madhu was going to be back or not, and the big question, and the 2 and out guys had asked me, is if Madhu's healthy, who gets the start? And my answer was, I'm just glad I'm not the coach who has to make that decision. Turns out Madhu won't be back. He has a broken scapula. Sounds painful.
Is it like a shoulder blade or something?
I don't actually know. I failed anatomy.
Boom.
Thank you, Mark. I'm an anthropologist and an historian.
I took engineering and I still knew.
Yeah, but Mark is like a trivia guru. Anyway, Madhu's not back, so there's the answer to the question. It's going to be Keenan LaFrance who gets the start. And remember John White in the Eastern air quotes semifinal, who had like 160 yards, and then he had very few yards in the final. So Keenan, don't be John White. You had a great game. You had a strong game. You're going to be up against a really formidable O-line, but you're going to be up against an O-line that hasn't seen a lot of you because you haven't been our starting quarterback. So you got another shot here to really be the hero, and I absolutely want to see you take it. And Henry, the only Grey Cup he's ever won was with Calgary. So there's got to be a little bit of extra fire in his belly. And he wore a cowboy hat. Did anybody see that? He's wearing his like Calgary Stampeders cowboy hat.
This is the leveling thing.
It's like, is it a psychological thing that I just don't know about? You wear the other guy's hat to freak them out?
No, actually, it's a huge thing in South Keys now. People are just wearing cowboy hats, apparently.
Oh, well.
I don't know.
Mark's got a cheese head up here, but anyway.
Cheese grater.
So Henry, use that burning passion inside of you to get your next Grey Cup away from the team that you won it for. And I think we're in good hands with Hank. And when he's got a fire in his belly, look out.
And that's where I was going with that. Like, Henry, it's time for you to show why people need to shut the hell up about you and your confidence and your attitude. It's here. I mean, you can just pull out all those sports analogies out of a hat, basically. It's all going to be left out of that gray cap, and it's all going to be left on the field, guys. All on the field, because that's where you leave it. You leave your pants, your shoes, your socks, all on the field.
Your bagels, all on the field. But it is that David versus Goliath feeling.
Totally.
And part of that is you have to, if you're Henry in that offense, you can't be worried about the points that Calgary are going to put up, because they are going to put up a ton of points. So you have to stay composed during that time. If you're down 14-0, don't change your game plan. Stick with what you got to do, right? And keep working that ball. Because this is a team, I've talked about it before, they play with confidence. They have an issue with confidence. And I feel like if this Redblacks team can't find a way to put points on the board early, they get stuck in that no man's land where do we run the ball? Do we throw it? Do we onside kick it? What do we do?
I think there's so much pressure on the OC this game that to mix it up and to not be susceptible to that momentum like usual. And I think that he's going to have to really, as a coach, I think this is really huge on him too.
Yeah. And that gets to that, when Calgary starts putting up the points on the board, it's like, okay, so do we have to, if we're going to be playing catch up, do they have a plan for playing catch up? And obviously they do. There's going to be a game plan that says, just keep the ball in this area of the field, keep moving up. The Ottawa Redblacks O-line is up for a challenge. I go back to, and I bring this up because homegrown DT, defensive tackle coach Corey Mason, Calgary, knows what a winning formula is. And why do I bring this up? Because he's won a Grey Cup with them. And this is the culture we're up against with Calgary. They really go in there and they find a way to build championship teams by bringing their own players back and being really inclusive and getting that feeling of, if you know how to win, come show us how. Corey Mace is one of those guys. So we need to put up the points when we can and use every aspect of that field. I'd like to see Henry get out of the pocket a little bit more on some of these bootlegs. I mean, bootlegs are the traditional CFL play, but it's going to give him a little bit more time. And we talked about Brad Sinopoli early. He's one of those guys that's able to get up the field and come back and make these 7-8 yard catches that keep the ball moving.
And then he's a big enough and strong enough guy to get a few more yards tacked on to the end of that.
That's yards after catch, by the way.
Yes, those are yak, not yak yards. Don't say yak yards.
Done.
I'll never say it again, nor will I ever say Grey Cap moving forward. Okay. Just for you, starting now, Grey Cap.
Talk about the defense today. What do we got for us? I know,
well, I've been preaching pretty much all season about the secondary playing more disciplined, and I think they did a great job on Sunday. They, again, no stupid penalty. There were a couple penalties, but there wasn't the 160 yards of stupid penalties, giving up an entire football field and then some. So I've said it before. I stick by it. I say it again. If that secondary continues to play that disciplined, then they can take on any offense in this league.
Can we all at least admit here that game felt really smooth without a lot of penalties?
It did.
It did.
It felt great.
Yeah,
it felt great.
Yeah.
It's so much nicer when they don't take penalties.
Yeah. I thought the mouchoirs were just under the snow.
No, maybe the mouchoirs were white.
Only on the south side. But
camo,
no, it does.
Camo mouchoir.
It really, you're so right. It really did move the game along
Absolutely.
nicely. And it had a really good pace to it,
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll say about defense is that front four really needs to get to Bo Levi Mitchell. His offensive line allows the least amount of sacks in the league. And it's certainly every few games is when they finally get to him. Now, two of their guys went down and they're having to do some shuffling on their They're having to do some shuffling in their lineup. Deb swears that it's not going to have an impact. I wonder if there might be some ratio impacts in other parts of the lineup. Maybe that's something that we can exploit. But either way, we talked about Cleon Lang last week and what impact he can have. And this is exactly the type of situation where Cleon Lang can have a big impact. So I really want to see that front four led by Cleon Lang get to Bo Levi Mitchell.
I love it. Thanks. I agree with everything you wrote in those notes. And when I read them earlier, I love it. I didn't know that BLM stood for Bo Levi Mitchell. I thought it was Black Lives Matter. So I was completely all over the place.
Where's she going with this?
I was like, listen, I've already made one political statement. And nobody.
When she said it was a ratio decision, I thought she said racial.
So,
whoa, hey, relax there.
Back on the tracks. I love it. Let's have fun, right? Calgary spreads the ball all over the field. We witnessed this back in September. It almost, like, they put up 30 points in the first half against us, and then they just hit cruise control. Yikes. That can't happen, obviously, on Sunday. The first 3 possessions in September versus us were all scores. They didn't use special teams until sometime in the second quarter. So this is what Calgary does. I mean, this is how they just wear down teams in every game they play, and they dominate. They wear down teams by just putting points up on their first 2 or 3 possessions. So basically, defense, I want small victories. That means, like, basically shut them down within the first few possessions and build that confidence as a team, and then go out there and maybe make a nice special teams play here or there, but focus on the small victories. And that's just turning the dial on a couple of things. Like, don't allow them to score 2 or 3 unanswered touchdowns. Yeah. And let's just keep them to like 1 scoring play in the first quarter. And hopefully that's a field goal at worst.
And small victory, maybe something like first man, making his tackle, or, someone covering for someone in a matchup issue, or like really, really minute, tiny things that like are imperative for those to really shut them down.
And that goes to discipline as well. So that goes to, maybe those small victories are getting through the first quarter without a mouchoir.
Yeah. So speaking of wearing them down, Jerome Messam, that's what he does. He grinds those O linemen down, and I think we're really going to have to mix it up this game. And I think that Coach Nelson is going to have to bring a lot of different looks on every play. I think, like, I'm talking new stuff. Like, really, really get them uncomfortable. Really confuse them. Really, really come at them with a plan that they wouldn't be prepared for. And I know that easier said than done, obviously, when, with the amount of years of football experiences that both teams have. But I think that that's the only way we're going to be able to put pressure on Bo Levi and shut down Messam is just to really confuse the hell out of them every play. And the advantage of shutting down Messam down early is, well, one, your O-linemen aren't worn out by taking smacks by a huge dude, right? It also kind of reduces Finch's effectiveness in the second half. And that dude, when you're tired out, that's when those kind of guys can really come at you and really, really wear you out when the big boys are tired. So this is a huge test for Coach Nelson. This is a huge test for our defensive line and back. And I think that offense-wise, I think we know what we're capable of, and we know what we can do, and we may not have to mix it up as much. But I think on defense, it's really time. Now's the time to be creative. I would hate to look back with any regrets for being too conservative early, and really not getting Bo Levi to
uncomfortable
touch that glorious turf at BMO Field that apparently is awesome. I just hope they paint the lines in the right way. I hope don't delay the game, but
for half an hour.
Things can happen. Yeah.
By the way, the Toronto FC lost last night in Montreal.
38 minutes later. Yeah. How do you mess that up? Really, paint the lines wrong? He had one job. Come on. Anyways, special teams.
So is Milo ever coming back? Like, I honestly have no idea. I don't even know what his injury is. I should probably pay more attention to those things since I do a podcast about this team. But Early went 2 for 2 last week, but he's got a long of 36. And I am telling you, boys, I live in fear of the game coming down to a 50-yarder. And if we don't have Milo, I am living in fear of that. So I'd like to know, Milo, if anybody's out there listening, Tell me, are you playing? What's going on? Everything else on special teams, I've got no complaints about. I've got no worries about. Dickinson, don't try any trick plays because we see those coming from a mile away, and you know what Tristan Jackson will do to you. So, and just as an aside, three touchdowns in our entire career as a team in this league, and they all came this season. Like, this is too much fun. But in a big game like this, a special teams play can really swing the momentum in your favor. So another big play like that, is it too much to ask?
Well, and good on Bob Dice. Obviously, he's doing he's done something. And Yano left after 2 disastrous seasons, and the special teams have been the difference in a year where we've been kind of sketchy and inconsistent on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point. If the team has to rely on a kick to win, we're not going to be in this game, and that's what I'm worried about. I got the same fear as you do, and then the very part of this game that has been lacking for the last 3 years, I don't want it to be the downfall, because then that puts us back into that perspective going into the off season. Wow, we did kind of patch a team together this year in the East, and we're the air quotes best in the East to be here. And a lot of it we did with some of these big plays, but I'm just worried about the kicking game as always. So, what do we got though for overall sentiment? Who feels like?
Well,
what's the last word on sports here?
All right, so here we go. So let's not kid ourselves. Santino's rant is about this. We're completely and utterly the underdogs this week, and no one thinks we belong here. Everybody's stuck on us being an under 500 team. The Stamps are who the Stamps are. They're absolutely incredible. Bo Levi Mitchell is incredible. There's a ton of reasons to believe that our hearts will be broken, but I really believe this. I'm not just saying it. I don't have to be this optimistic. I really am this optimistic. A team is going to learn a lot from a failed trip to the Grey Cup. So the Redblacks learned a lot from having their hearts broken last year in Winnipeg. They learn a lot from the types of adversity that they've gone through this year. Who's going to be our quarterback? Who's throwing to us this week? What does the media have to say about our subpar season compared to last year? And they learn a lot from all of these ups and downs. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to one game. I don't care about the records. I don't care that they were below 500. That doesn't matter on Sunday. All that matters is that they are there as a team. Each unit is playing together. Each man is playing for each other. And I really believe that if they play like that, they can beat Calgary.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, each one of these games should be looked at independent to each other. If you just looked at the lineup side by side, sure, Calgary's a bit deeper, but we're a little better in certain aspects as well. And Mike, you said it about momentum, and it's really important for a team that's not lacking confidence, but kind of learning to have some, not swagger, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
they learned to bottle it. If you look at the first year, this team didn't have a culture of understanding who they were as a team, so they didn't bottle a lot of emotion. We saw flags left and right and center, and we saw a lot of those players aren't here anymore. I'm not going to name names, but what they've done is they've kept the guys around that understand it's a team effort. And so I'm with you on that. It's like there has to be a momentum building aspect to this game, because that's the way Hank works. Like that, like if you know Hank, it's almost like he needs to have a few points on the board to start moving in the right direction and not be down 14 to 17 points.
I think that if we can somehow get out to a lead early, that's a position Calgary's not used to being in. Even if we can slow the game right down,
absolutely,
like we set the pace, grind it down, and get Calgary out of rhythm, or don't let them get in rhythm and let them play from behind. That's not something they're used to, and it's I think like if we get behind, it's going to be really hard to catch up with these guys. But if we can grind it out and even keep it close till fourth quarter, I mean, anything can happen, and I think it's kind of going to come down to that. It's going to be, we're going to need an anything can happen moment to win, whether that's a fumble, a random play, or a bad penalty. But we're going to need something kind of out of the ordinary to kind of give us that edge, I think.
And I'm
as a gambler, that's terrifying.
You need that.
But at the same time, like, we're piling on the Redblacks hard.
Money line 2.45. I'll put
put the mortgage on that thing, bud.
So I'm gonna put an emotional spin on this because I go back to, again, I'm all about it's. Let's talk about the logo on the front of the on the front of the jersey. But there's a part of me here that looks at Hank, good old Henry Burris, and says, you know what? You went out of your way. You came here. You've devoted. This is your 3rd season with us. You're putting the time in. You shot your mouth off a little bit this year. You took some heat, but for me, it'll be, I don't want to see that man lose this game on Sunday. And that's like, it almost has, like, I'm also, like, I swear to God, I've never done this before, but I'm actually have all my, like, my good vibes are going towards Henry Burris for the win. And that's like, I want him to win this game and kind of leave this league on a high note because he's been such a great ambassador for the game of football, especially here in Ottawa now, but overall in the Canadian Football League. So that's my take. And that's like, I think there's going to be a lot of players on that sideline that feel the same damn way as I do, and hopefully they put a little bit extra effort
I agree.
in. So,
he's such a leader, and he's mobilized that team around becoming as successful. Again, I don't give a shit about the record this year. They are still a successful team. It is, as Coach Campbell said, it is not easy to get to the Grey Cup. It's not easy to get there twice.
And that's why I brought up Corey Mace earlier, because it's guys like that who can then come back and join the organization in some capacity and start building a culture of absolute championship caliber attitude. And you can only get that when you raise that cup above your head. So that's where I'm at. And the rest of the guys, hopefully they're thinking the same way. So,
and I think people from Ottawa are, I mean, the way you feel, I mean, I feel the same way. I think most of Redblacks fans feel that way. There's a small little pocket that, like the other quarterback, but I'm pretty sure that controversy has put itself to bed a long time ago. And the rest of the league, I think there's other teams kind of feeling opposite to you, and it's kind of like I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or like it's just strange seeing a lot of animosity towards Hank. Like I just like him so much, and he's just so fun to watch. And how many? Okay, now the 41 matters. How many 41-year-old men can come on the field and ignite an entire stadium full of people? And we saw it happen this year when he got his chance to come back in and lead our team. And no offense to Mr. Harris, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have those intangibles right now.
It's not your team yet, son.
And so, he'll have them one day. I'm not worried about that.
It might not be next year either.
It might not be, but I'm not worried about Trevor Harris becoming one of the best in this league. But this is Henry's time.
Yeah.
And I think somebody who doesn't want to see Henry win this is just somebody who claims to be a Redblacks fan that doesn't want to see Henry win this is just not really a fan.
Yeah.
So one around the horn, we'll go with just go with a score prediction. I know we didn't put it in the notes, but a score prediction for me, if the over under is 53, did I say earlier?
Yeah, 54.5.
50 something. So so maybe 24 points for Calgary, 31 for Ottawa.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
It's right in the wheelhouse of what Vegas thinks, but we're kind of on the
opposite way.
and it's almost that 9-point spread going the other way. So we take the +9. So anyway, so, Fossey, Corsi, what do we think?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
14-3.
It's going to be a 6-3 win, and all Rouges, as Canadian as it gets. No, it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Absolutely.
I think both these offenses are very potent. Both defenses are solid, Calgary's especially.
Yeah.
But I just think under pressure, the big dogs, the E-Jacks of the world, the Bo Levis of the world, they're going to come to play, and I think we're going to see a lot of points. And I think the Redblacks are going to win. It's going to be 34-27 Redblacks.
Nice.
I think it's going to be closer. I think it's going to come down to the final play of the game.
I'll turn the TV off if it comes down to that.
I'll vomit all over myself and my seatmates.
Pick a pocket. Always vomit into a pocket.
Wouldn't be the first time, right?
I'm going to say 32-30 Redblacks.
Wow, we're pretty snug here, guys. So I like it. All right, producer Mark, let's hear what you think, bud. What do you think for a little score prediction as you're chilling out in there? He just burst in a blood vessel.
27-25 Redblacks.
27-25 Redblacks from Mark. So we'll see if we fit in there anywhere. By the way, take the under in the first half. There'll be a lot of nerves in this game. So whatever that under is, whatever that teaser under is.
To support that under, the pregame routine will not be a normal routine. It's going to be a lot longer. There's going to be a lot of time between warm-ups and start of play. Great strategy there. I like it.
Good strat.
That's plus EV. I'm piling on the under for first half. I like that. Anything else you want to throw some money around? Janine, you win that 50-50. I don't care.
I don't want to throw any money around because I'm like a super conservative, risk-averse person. But I'm gonna leave with this little storyline. The last time Ottawa won a Grey Cup was on November 28th, 1976. And 2 days later, I was born. And I'm just saying, it's my birthday. And this is what I want for my birthday. So 40 years later, let me be your good luck charm, Henry. Let me be your good luck charm, our nation. I came into this world for a reason, and it was to get you this damn Grey Cup. So go get it.
Stars are aligned. Stars are aligned.
I thought you brought this world to write all our notes for the show. No?
I called Miss Cleo, man. The stars are aligned.
Call now. Actually, if you call right now, we get a promotion. Yeah, you give me 5,000. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Awesome time.
Enjoy the game.
Yeah, everyone be safe. Have fun who's going down there. Represent our nation in a mature and positive manner. If you want to get sideways and act like an asshole, just throw a Hamilton Tiger Catch jersey on. You'll fit right in. All right. Go Redblacks.
Go Redblacks.
Thank you for stopping by on this week's episode of the Bleed Redblacks podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BleedRedblacks or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Bleed Redblacks podcast.